How to cut and sew a corset with a keyhole neckline that doesn't gap. In this video, I'll be sharing an important secret on how you can cut a keyhole neckline that will not gap. Looking at the dress on my client, you can see that the keyhole neckline is perfectly fitted without gapping. This is the same method I use in making all of these dresses, and I'll be sharing this secret with you in this video. So we are going to be drafting a keyhole corset dress. For the lines I have here, I have marked my shoulder measurement divided by 2, the basic neckline of 3 by 3. For my armhole depth, just do well to mark a temporal line for your armhole depth. I'm going to be explaining that later on. I used my shoulder measurement divided by 2 for my armhole depth, and in order to get a straight line, I placed my tape on the other end there and I remeasured my shoulder measurement just to get a straight line for my armhole depth. I marked the bust point, the under bust and the half length, and this is a 0.5 inch for the sewing allowance. I marked my bust span measurement divided by 2. I did not add a 0.5 inch, and I connected it to the center of my shoulder. You are going to measure what you have from here to here, divide it by 2, and that is the midpoint of your shoulder. You connect your bust span line there. And for the dart intake, I'll be using 2 inches for the dart intake. So I'll go ahead to connect this from this point to this point like this. I'll curve the side curve later. Next, I'm inserting the body measurement. On the half length, you insert the waist measurement divided by 4 and you add back the dart intake. All sewing allowance will be added when we are transferring to the fabric. On the under bust, you add under bust measurement divided by 4 plus your dart intake. On the bust point, you mark a bust measurement divided by 4, and I'll go ahead to connect it like this. Next, you are going to draft the keyhole neckline, and to do that, you need to measure your client's cleavage depth. There's a video on the channel already on measurement. I'll be dropping the link in the description box for a better understanding. So I'll go ahead to mark my client's cleavage depth, which is 4.5 inches. To understand some terms and measurements used in this video, kindly watch the previous measurement video I uploaded. So I'll measure her cups height here, and you connect the cups height to the cleavage depth using either your French curve or a freehand. If you are using a freehand, always make sure you make a dotted line first so you can easily correct any mistake. Next, I'm going to alter this basic neckline. I'll be using a 3.5 inch wide and a 3.5 inch deep for the neckline of this dress, and I'm going to connect my marked points. I have already marked the width of the keyhole band and I used 1.5 inches. Before making the hole on the chest, you are going to tighten the above bust, and for the tightening, I use 0.5 to the center and 0.75 to the side. I'm going to connect it to the bust point like this. After connecting this, you can go ahead at this time to make the down part as curvy as you want it to be, because it's not expected to be slanted. I use my free hand to make the curve at first, so you know that you can do it with or without a French curve. But if you have a French curve, you can just go ahead to use it at once and make your curve. Next, you are going to connect the dart leg to the shoulder, and to do that, whatever you marked here as your above bust tightening, you are going to remark it at the shoulder. You are going to connect it to the dart leg like this. Next, you are going to close up this dart, and to do that, you are going to pinch up a single line like this. Now you are going to make sure that this line meets with the next line like this, and you are starting from the bust point so that it does not squeeze. So when you arrange a bit, you are going to use your masking tape and hold it down. Then you go ahead to arrange the next point all the way to the shoulder, and you also cut your masking tape and hold it down at some intervals to keep it down. Next, we are going to add back our dart intake on the shoulder so it does not reduce our shoulder measurement. So I'll go ahead to remeasure my shoulder measurement divided by 2, and I'll also go down to my armhole depth, and I'll also remeasure my shoulder measurement at that point. I'll connect the two marked points together, and this will be our actual armhole depth. This is why I advise you use a fence line for the initial armhole depth. To make my armhole curve on the new marked out line, check the description box for a link to the detailed tutorial on how to make your own armhole curve. And looking at the shoulder, you'll notice that the both lines, they do not align anymore. So you're going to take your straight rule and you're going to place it on it, ensuring that it touches this first line and it also touches the other line here. And you draw a straight line. Now this new line is our new shoulder line. I'll go ahead to slant the shoulder by 0.5, connecting it to my desired neckline. Looking at the neckline, you notice that the neckline doesn't blend anymore. One is down and the other is up. Now you do not want to follow the down one, because if you follow the down one, you would end up having a shorter cup. So what to do now? You are going to redraw your neckline to make it blend into this point. You connect it to the armhole as well, and you make sure that the both lines meet. So you just indicate here as the up and this side as the down. With the dart still closed, I'll go ahead to mark out the keyhole width. I'm using 4.5, mark it out and connect it to my 1.5 width at the top. Now before I draft the cup, I'm going to take out the yoke to give me a relaxed pattern. From the neck styling, I'll cut it out. I'll remove only the armhole curve. Then I'll just go ahead to finish the yoke by taking out the keyhole part, taking out the shoulder slant, taking out my neckline styling. Do not forget to take out your borderline. I'll be sharing the secrets of a perfect keyhole neckline, but let's get done with the cups first. So I'm just going to keep the keyhole part while we focus on this part. Remove the masking tape to have a flat pattern. Go to the front center, mark 0.5 of an inch. Coming to the underbust part, place your tape like this, mark 1.75. It is a constant to guide your cup, and to avoid having a sharp curve, mark 0.5 on the underbust line. And if you are using your free hand, these 3 dots will guide you on how to make your curve. If you are using your French curve, simply place it on this point and mark it out. For the other cup side, mark your 0.5 inch on the underbust line as well. If you're using your free hand, always use the dotted line first so you can easily correct it. If you're using your French curve, just place it and draw. I'm always using my free hand to show you that you can do and get a perfect curve even without a French curve. I'm going to label it now. This is the up front center, the up for the front side. Now you have to label this side as the center so that when you cut it out, you will not mistake this point for this point. This is all for the corset part. I'll cut this out and I'll be sharing with you the important secret you need to get a perfect keyhole neckline. Now I'm going to be keeping the front side and every other part of this dress, leaving just the front center and the keyhole yoke. Now this is the secret ingredient you need. Coming to the front center of the cup, you take out half of an inch on the center and you connect it to your bust point and you cut it out. This will not affect anything. It's just serving as a tightening. The down part of the yoke center, you are going to mark half of an inch and you connect it to 0.25 of an inch on the neckline part and you are going to cut it out. Alright, so this is the secret to having a keyhole neckline that does not gap. For the back part, I have gone ahead to mark out my shoulder measurement divided by 2. For the neck width, I use 3.5 inch wide by 1 inch deep. Slanted the shoulder by 0.5 inches. I've drawn my armhole curve. I've marked out my basic line and my bust band line. I'll go to the back center and I'm going to tighten the back center by 0.75 to avoid gapping of the zip, and I'm going to connect it to the neckline like this. All your measurements should start after the tightening, but if you are putting the lacing, do not bother tightening that point. Just go ahead to add your lacing width. On the bust band line, I'll mark 0.5 inches on both sides for my dart intake. Connect it to 1 inches before my bust point and I'll mark it out. Next, I'm going to insert the body measurement like we did for the front. Don't forget to add your dart intake when necessary. I'm going to connect it to the shape and I'll cut this out. I'll not be removing the back dart. I'll simply stitch it up when I'm sewing. You see that when we are sewing how I'll stitch it up. Transferring to fabric, the side I added 1.5 inches, the down half of an inch, the zipper parts 1 inch, neckline and shoulder half of an inch. I also cut lining for this as I will be lining it, and I'll be turning the neckline and the back zipper and the side only for the back. For the dart, I'll just simply measure the height of my dart so I can translate to my fabric very well. Now for the yoke part, I've added my sewing allowance of 0.5 inches all around. Note that the center is closed, and I also cut lining to this. I would also iron light stay on this before I turn it up. I'll be turning the neckline and the keyhole part only. For the cup area, I have 2 pieces of each of these for my lining and for my main fabric, and I added my allowance of 0.5 inches all around. I'm going to be joining the front centers together, taking my sewing allowance, and you can pad this up if you are making this for an Ankara dress. Now for the front center, I added my sewing allowance of 0.5 inches all around. It's on fold. I also cut out for my lining. For the side, I added the same allowance to the side seam as the back, and I added 0.5 inches all around, and I also cut 2 for my lining and 2 for the main fabric. I'll be joining the front center and the front side together, fabric to fabric. And for the back side, I've joined it and I've also fixed my dart and I've joined it to the skirt part. If you'd want a tutorial on how to cut a skirt, please let me know. I have also joined the lining of the cup area, I joined it differently. Same thing for the front, I joined the lining differently from the fabric. We'll be using it to finish the front part neatly. I have also turned the yoke and I have joined the cup side lining to lining and fabric to fabric. Next, you're going to be fixing the cup of the fabric to the fabric. Now, this is the cup. You can see that it is cupping very well. You can add a breast pad and it will still come out very fine. Now, before you fix this to your dress, kindly note where the front center is and you fix it to the correct side for the both sides. Just fix it, taking in your sewing allowance for both the fabric and the lining. So here, I have fixed it. You can see my dart aligned. To make sure your dart aligned for your cup, please, you must start sewing from the center of the cup to the corners. So I'll go ahead to trim out my sewing allowance and I'm going to take the yoke part. Take note of where the neckline is and where the keyhole is. I'm going to place it, start sewing from the armhole to where it stops for the both side. So here I'm done with that. Take the lining, make sure the right side of the lining is facing the right side of the fabric. Flip the neckline in between like this, place the lining on it and you are going to sew the neckline, taking in your sewing allowance. Sew the sides as well for a neat finishing, and I'll quickly do that and I'll trim out my sewing allowance. I'll flip it to the right side and this is what I have. I'll close the down part, join it to my skirt and I'm going to shape it out, and this is the final fittings. You can see that this dress came out nice. If you want to see a skirt tutorial, please let me know. There's a video on this channel on how to fix an invisible zip already, link in the description box. If you try this out, my WhatsApp number is on the screen. Kindly send me a message with your practicals. I would love to see what you make. Thank you.